Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. This is the bottom line, or the bottom line, we say business at the speed of thought. Tonight is going to be a very interesting one. So, about 2 years ago, a company was birthed, and it was about aluminium here in Ghana. It was about bauxite here in Ghana. It was about development or industrialization here in Ghana. And so, His Excellency the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has been very keen and interested in industrializing the whole of Ghana, beginning from the one district, one factory, and all of the SME supports that they've been given. There has been a lot of talk about rail industry as well. There's been a lot of talk about the value chain, where all of these come from. And I'm sure you have monitored how the bauxite discussions have come. A company was set up called Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation to oversee all of the activities of bauxite here in Ghana and to expand the value chain, to develop the industry, to make sure that Ghana is reaping from the bauxite that we have in Ghana, to, if possible, prevent exportation of the raw bauxite which is mined from Awaso to Nyinahini to Chebi to Mpasaso, the major sites that we have here in Ghana. It's been 2 years already, and the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Michael Ansah, and his team have been at the forefront of making sure that we have proper investors, that we have proper development of our sites, that we prevent other activities like galamsey and so on and so forth. We want to be asking him tonight, how has the journey been so far? There's been a lot of other issues that have come up as well. The Sino-Hydro deal with China, what the impact has been and what role they are playing in it, what role the stakeholders, the chiefs, and the people within the communities. There's been civil society organizations. Typical example is Arocha Ghana, who has been very keen on the green life and how they will protect the lives of the people that live within these communities. So this is our discussion tonight. You want to stay with us. We will be right back. You're welcome back from the break. Our topic tonight is a focus on the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation. They set out on a path to find partners to be able to develop the sites that we are talking about. I think around 2021, they found a company called Rockshore. Let's have a look at the video. When we come back from the video, I'll be asking him what the impact of Rockshore has been so far. Then we get back into our discussions for tonight. Let's see the video.
Ghana's bauxite reserve is estimated at 900 million tons, with a resolve to exploit the resource in a sustainable and environmentally friendly manner. The government in 2018 set up the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, GIADEC. The company has set out to operate 4 bauxite mines, 2 refineries, and engage in smelting activities in Awaso, Nyinahini, Mpasaso, and Chebi. After a series of bidding processes and engagement with investors, GIADEC has partnered a wholly owned Ghanaian company, Rockshore International, to develop a mine at Chebi and Nyinahini, Mpasaso respectively, as well as build a refinery.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is a multi-year industrial development and transformation program. The 4 projects together will require private sector-led investments up to $6 billion, making this one of the most ambitious, indeed audacious, industrial development programs since our independence. The timelines for establishing the mines and refineries will be in accordance with proposals that we received from our prospective partners. But in respect of Project 2, for which we have selected a partner to be announced today, it is anticipated that mining operations after preliminary works and studies will commence within 24 months. Development of a refinery solution will commence in tandem, and construction activities timeline will be estimated at about 4 years.
At the ceremony, President Akufo-Addo said the move is in line with government's industrialization agenda.
The vision of building an integrated aluminum industry is very important to us all, and particularly dear to me, given the significant transformational impact it will have on the development of our economy and the considerable potential it has for wealth creation. It is at the heart of our industrial transformation agenda. The execution of 4 projects in Awaso, Yinahin, Pasaso, and Chebi will lead to the creation of business ventures that will see us reducing our reliance on the import of aluminum products and enable us to develop employment and high-paying jobs for our people.
He assured residents in the mining community of government's resolve to ensure that mining is done in a sustainable manner.
I would reiterate the steps will be taken to ensure that all mining activities are done in a responsible manner in accordance with our regulations. The time has come for us to realize the full value of the raw materials with which we have been blessed. Ghana beyond aid will be realized if we focus on adding value to our raw materials and retaining the value in our country.
Right, so you heard the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and of course, the Chief Executive Officer of GIADEC, telling us about the partnership and its expected impact on our economy. Tonight, I am privileged to have the Chief Executive Officer of GIADEC, Mr. Michael Ansah, here in the studio to go into the details of how far they have come with all of these projects. Good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much.
I hope you're doing very well.
Thank you. Yes, a pleasure to be here with you tonight.
Right, a very good one. We are happy to have you tonight. Let me begin with the story we just saw. You said 24 months we should begin seeing mining operations. Have mining operations begun in any of the 4 sites?
Absolutely, and it's important, very interesting clip that you showed out there. So GIADEC has come a long way. If we look at our inception and you look at the milestone event that happened in September last year when we launched all the 4 projects that together defined the integrated aluminium industry, we have indeed come a long way. And specifically to your question, yes, mining has commenced. When we say mining has commenced, activities that will lead to the establishment of a mine, that will lead to how the whole structure will be set up, that will lead to the issues, the foundational issues around environmental impact assessment, all those bits of work that is required to happen before actual mining commences have already started. And I'm glad to say that in signing Project 2, we've actually seen the activities commence at the site. We've got workers at the site, and I'll be very happy to...
That's a partnership with Rockshore Company Limited.
Yes, with Rockshore International, yes.
We'll come to that. I mean, that's my focus tonight. But let's have a look at, from 2019, how the journey has been so far for you. There were times you invited us into press meetings and press conferences, and you told us about a number of companies that are coming together, the processes that you are going through to make sure that you have a company that has enough local content to support the economy.
Yeah.
How has the journey been for you right when you became the CEO of GIADEC now?
It's been a very exciting journey, exciting in the sense that we've had to deal with the whole area of designing the framework within which this whole industry will develop. Of course, there's been challenges as well, and I'll talk about challenges later on, but clearly, we've been on a path of making sure that the foundations for GIADEC were correctly laid. Everything to do with the preparation, the selection of partners, the process that we went through was quite a rigid process. And the purpose of it was to ensure that we got partners who understood what we're trying to do and who were prepared to partner us in executing these things. And I'm happy to say that the process has actually borne fruit. We've been able to go through a 3-round investor engagement process. We've spent a lot of time in all the preparatory stages, everything to do with the even aspects around the regulatory environment in which we'll operate. And that has led to the selection of partners. As the program said, we've defined 4 precise projects that we're driving. The 4 projects are the expansion of the mine that we already have in Awaso and building a refinery there. Second one is the Nyinehin development, which is also going to lead to the construction of a refinery solution. And a third one in the Nyinehin in Pasaso area, but also with Chebi as a third mine. And finally, the retrofitting of the Valco plant to produce about 300,000 tons of aluminium.
That's within the next 5 years, you say?
Yes.
300,000?
Yes.
But currently at 60,000?
Currently, yes. 50, 60,000, yes, is what we're doing today.
And they are making losses. That's not productive. You are the controller of Valco
yes,
now.
Yes.
What are you doing about Valco?
Well, I think anyone who cares to look deeply at the history of Valco and where we are today will see that there's been a significant improvement in performance.
Very well.
It's important that we realize where Valco was when GIADEC got involved just about September 2020 was when 2019 was when we put a board in place and we started working with Valco. If you look at the numbers today, you look at the operations today, you look at the plan today, you look at the trajectory of where we are today, we've made some really good, solid progress. In fact, Valco actually returned a profit at the EBITDA level for the first time in more than 12 years. And that is a significant...
I think I read that about a week or so ago.
Yes.
The profits from Valco.
Yes.
But that's some good news for you.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to take this opportunity to congratulate the board of GIADEC, the board of Valco, the management and staff of Valco for the work that we're all doing.
Will you suggest that that's evidence of the kind of work you're doing? Would you pat yourself?
Well, it's evidence of the endeavor that GIADEC, Valco, government, everybody is committed to driving. And we're about results. We're about seeing what we do bearing fruit. So when we see the fruit of our labors, of course, it's gratifying. And, we've had occasion to thank all who have been involved in getting to this excellent performance. Of course, what's happening globally also impacts what we do here. Commodity pricing, etc., have improved. That has helped us. Our focus is on driving costs down in Valco so that on the margin level, we can appreciate our profitability. This is what we're working on. We want to make sure that...
When we have exchange rates running out of the space all the time, I mean, we're hitting high figures now.
Yeah, I mean, well, Valco trades, we trade in dollars, effectively, as in we sell to the London Metal Exchange or the international market.
Your cost of production is also in dollars as well.
Yes, so we buy raw materials in dollars, we sell in dollars. So in terms of exchange rates or arbitrage and things like that, we're not, it's not as if we're significantly exposed. So we're managing that quite well. Effectively, I mean, it's all about managing our costs, making sure that we can drive profitability. And that's what we're doing. We're achieving that. And the trajectory from last year to this year, and even looking into 2022, I think we are in a very strong position. And I want to make sure that we can continue to drive good performance.
There are people who probably think you may not be a politician, because oftentimes we've had some of these investment projects, huge investment projects, come under the political spectacle. You have a lot of influences here and there, and then we end up hearing a lot of corrupt companies that are not properly registered and so on and so forth. We had tensions when you were doing the selections, but eventually you've been able to manage it in I would say, a very good way. How did you come about that?
Well, I think, first of all, again, the board has been very supportive. His Excellency, the President, has been very supportive. Ministers have been very supportive. You didn't have influence
from the President on the selection of any of the companies?
Well, I mean, we run a very transparent process, and the transparent process that, is auditable. Everybody can see who was involved, what the...
Government didn't have any interest. Minister of Land didn't have.
I don't.
Work with this company for me. You didn't didn't get
No. I think it's a transparent process, and we all wanted to respect the process. Everybody respected the process, and the process what has borne out in terms of the selections that we have made. So I think that's important, and that is something which this government is committed to, and that is something which I've been very proud of in terms of our capacity to work within the strictures of.
I'll be coming to the values of Rockshore, but how many of them have you selected now? We know Rockshore is in charge of Project 2, which is the Nyinahini project.
Yes.
Nyinahini and Impasaso
That's right.
project. And for Chebi, precisely, and for Awaso, which we know Ghana Bauxite Company Limited is already there, and which we heard of all the brouhaha, the staff strikes, and all of those things. What's happening? Are you having individual companies for each of the blocks?
Well, so running 4 projects of this magnitude, I think you heard the clip we mentioned about a $6 billion investment.
Yes.
It's complex, to say the least. It's important that we recognize where we are now. Okay, so we signed Project 2. Rockshore International has been announced. We've signed the heads of terms, everything relating to the project, and we are executing that actually on the ground today. Project 3, we've gone very far with the negotiations.
Okay.
We haven't finalized the negotiations. We have a preferred partner who we're working with to develop.
Which is?
We will announce that in due course.
You don't want to mention the partner's name?
Not until...
It's your preferred partner?
It's a preferred partner, not until we sign.
Looking at the stakes now, there is the very high likelihood that you'll be working with that partner.
There is a high likelihood.
Probably prospecting now.
No, not prospecting. We're completing the negotiations. So until the negotiations are complete, we've signed confidentiality agreements.
Is it a local company?
No, we've signed confidentiality agreements, so it's important that we respect the confidentialities.
But is it a for Rockshore, we know that largely Ghanaian-owned company. Is the third?
No, this is an international company.
International company.
A company with of international repute, repute working, across Europe and other parts of the world.
Can I suggest?
No,
or you know.
No. Like I said, I think it's important we respect the confidentiality.
Right, that's fine.
So that's I appreciate that. Yeah,
that's fine. So for the third project, not yet.
Yeah. So with that, if you take Chebi, for instance, I mean, everybody knows there's a court case currently. We've got to respect all those processes and make sure that ultimately these things are dealt with in the right way. And of course, that has resulted in some inevitable delay in that regard.
Did you anticipate that? I mean,
of course we did.
I have been with you on certain trips, and I've seen all of these issues coming up. You have tried your best to do community engagements.
Yes.
You have tried your best to do civil society engagements. You have tried your best to do even government engagements.
Yeah.
Engagement with journalists and so on and so forth. And these hiccups come up. Do you get worried by it?
No, I mean,
we're frustrated.
I appreciate your comments because we're doing our very best to communicate with all the stakeholders. And stakeholders, of course, include the communities that will be impacted. It includes, at the government level. It includes, representative groups. It includes civil society organizations, etc. And, of course, not everybody will be 100% supportive of what we're doing or even how we're doing things. But we want to make sure that we present a very transparent process so people understand, first of all, what we're doing, that we are very much under the direction of supervisory and regulatory organizations. So whether it's Forestry Commission, Minerals Commission, Water Commission, etc., these are there to regulate GIADEC and our partners. And we very much are working to make sure that we comply with the laws of Ghana. We've also signed up to certain international best practices that we want to make sure that we drive here. So in the selection of our partners, we want to make sure that these are partners who respect these best practice ways in which we want to mine, responsible mining, as His Excellency the President mentioned. This is something that we want to be the benchmark by which we're measured. So these things are important. But of course, civil society organizations also have things that they are passionate about. And I'm very personally encouraged that we have that vociferous voice that is very keen on protecting the environment and very much wanting to see what we would like to see. So for me, it's going to be, there's an opportunity for us to partner with them, for them to understand what we're doing, and for us to work to make sure that we achieve what is right for the people of Ghana.
Let me stay on that line a bit before I come back to Rockshore. I'll stay on Rockshore and the Awaso mine. But on Chebi, people are worried about the number of water bodies which they perceive will be destroyed. And this is the issue everybody has been talking about. The livelihoods that are going to be destroyed. You call it the flora and the fauna that are going to be destroyed. You have carried out a biodiversity study. And I'm happy you mentioned, as the president said, responsible mining. You are in yourself a regulatory institution.
We're not.
You're not?
No, we're not. We are under the direction of regulatory bodies. We are essentially a corporation that's been set up to develop the industry.
Who regulates you?
Well, we're regulated by the regulatory agencies, whether it's Forestry or Water Commission or Environmental Protection Agency.
Regulate you?
Yes, they're a regulator. EPA is a regulator. They are the ones who regulate us. So if to get a mining license for us and our partners,
you have to get approval from all of them.
Yes, we have to get approval from all these agencies.
But are we sure that these livelihoods, as we talk about, the greens are protected? There is sustainable mining. The biodiversity studies that you've done, are we sure that it will not affect the water bodies we have in the eastern region?
Well, when you say, are we sure? We are confident.
You're confident?
That we can drive practices that will ensure that the environment is protected, that water bodies are protected. When I say we have carried out our studies, but EPA has carried out a baseline study which indicates what is there today, as in water bodies, what is there in terms of flora and fauna, that will inform a management action plan. And what that simply means is that we're not just going to go there and start mining, in abandon, if I can call it that way. We are going to mine specifically where we know we can mine responsibly. The bauxite occurs in the northern part of the Etiwa forest.
Okay.
Initial estimates, and it's very early estimates, indicates that we will be impacting significantly a small part of the Etiwa forest, not the entire Etiwa forest. And there's also the opportunity to do this in a way which allows us to, ironically, protect the entire forest, so that you can even marry this with, let's say, a reserve, you can, as in a national park, and all of that kind of thing. So there are things that we can do. And part of this process is to ensure that we arrive scientifically at the right answer and do this in a responsible way. Etiwa Forest is a heritage to the people of Ghana. The rivers that take their source from the area are also very vital to drinking water for some 5 million people and things like that. And the watershed and all of this has been studied by Water Commission. The mitigation measures that we need to put in place, the distances that we need to be away from water sources have all been planned into this. And finally, when we come together, where we finalize our studies, environmental impact assessments, etc., it will be for the regulatory bodies to make the decisions around whether
you can go ahead.
Exactly, and that's the important thing. And we are a sovereign country. At the end of the day, our institutions have been mandated by our laws, etc., to carry out a certain responsible mandate. And I know they will do this to the letter.
There is a projection that you would help prevent galamsey. And so
yes.
river bodies are already being polluted.
Exactly. I mean, sadly.
So if you come in, you'll be able to now protect the entire forest. Are you going to do that?
Sadly, that's the case. I mean, if anyone who knows, we have a view of Etiwa Forest, but if you fly over the forest and you look at what has happened there, you will see the extent of degradation, sadly. But I think what we want to do, if we gain permission to do what we want to do, we'll actually be in a position with a world-class company that's going to be working with us to protect that entire forest, so that the integrity of the forest is protected, the flora and fauna is protected, okay, and we go through a process of afforestation, etc. So the whole management action plan that we'll put in place is what will ensure that Etiwa Forest will be kept in a manner that you and I, as Ghanaians, can be proud of.
Right. I have followed the engagements for quite a while, especially the community engagements where GIADEC has set up, I think, a 19-member committee in each of these communities to make sure that engagement continues to go on. So if you have any challenge, you can send them to us right here at Metro TV. We'll try to get in touch with the GIADEC office and see if it can be resolved for you. Other than that, if you are in any of these communities, you can visit or you can talk to any of these stakeholders in the communities, the 19 member committees that will help you understand things. So we have the Chief Executive Officer of GIADEC, Mr. Michael Ansah, in the studio tonight, answering questions on the programs and projects of GIADEC so far. Rockshore won the bid as a local partner or the partner of GIADEC to develop the Nyinahini and Mpasaso block, which they call the Project 2. $1.2 billion project. Is that the case? 1.2 billion?
Yes, that is the estimate.
That's the estimate?
That's the estimate, yes, because of the refinery that is included in this.
Yes, so I was going to ask what are we to expect?
Yeah, so the mining is roughly in the region of about 150 million, and the balance of that will be in the development of the refinery. So that's the where that estimate projection comes from.
All right.
And of course, we selected them as part of the process that I talked about earlier. And I'm glad to say, as we speak today, work has commenced on that project.
What exactly is Rockshore to do?
So basically, we're developing a mine. The mine will produce about 5 million metric tons of bauxite.
Raw bauxite?
Raw bauxite.
Okay.
And the refinery capacity will be in the region of about, say, 1.5 million, 1.5 to 2 million. That require, the 2 million ton alumina plant will require about 5 million tons of bauxite to feed it.
Yes.
So that is the a mine and a refinery is what we're developing in Project
Rockshore is supposed to mine and
Yes.
build up a refinery?
Yes. Rockshore and GIADEC. So it's important that we recognize that GIADEC has selected a partner. So GIADEC will have an equity stake in all the ventures that we set up. So in this case, we will have a minimum 30% stake in the mine and in the refinery, and we'll develop it together.
That's a minimum, but do we have the figures yet? Have we signed with them?
We've signed.
What's the percentage we Ghanaians are getting from this partnership?
We've signed 30% at this point, but with the option to increase that if necessary. And a project of this magnitude, there will be one or two other, options that we can look at. So,
what are we contributing as a country for you?
This is being funded by private sector company, private sector investment. It's not money that's going to come from the treasury. So in terms of our equity, we will contribute with regard to the equity that we take. And in terms of the capital structure of the company, there will, of course, be a debt portion and an equity portion. So there'll be some borrowing for the company, not government borrowing, but for the company that will...
will it be on the books of government?
No, it will be on the books of the company.
Yes,
it's straight lending to the company. So the company that will create will borrow some money, but will also put in equity. The capital structure typically will be 30, 70, 60, 40, etc. And we're already in conversation with financiers around that.
But for Rockshore, they are local companies, so I'm interested in them. What's the level of monitoring? Are you going to monitor them throughout the process? Are they prospecting now, or what are they doing now in the site?
Yeah, I think it's important that they are a local company, and what is gratifying about the local company is that it demonstrates that Ghanaian companies have the capacity, have the experience, have the ability to be able to do a project as complex as this.
Yes.
And so far, going to the site, seeing the work that's going on there, seeing the processes and systems that they put in place, seeing the world-class operations that they're running, I'm really confident that we're going to, we selected the right partner, number one, and we can do this. And we're doing this with Ghanaians. We're going to train Ghanaians to run this entire business, everything from the mining to the high-value jobs, etc. A significant portion of that will be Ghanaians. And of course, more importantly, will be managed by a Ghanaian entity. So that is important. And it demonstrates to the world our capacity to do this. And the fact that we've started off with them is indicative that, the world has seen that this is what we're trying to do. And in fact, since we signed on Rockshore, the interest in what GIADEC is doing has been overwhelming. We're getting other interest from other, top 10 integrated aluminium industry companies who are now very interested in what we're doing. Previously, less so. But now they've seen the traction. They've seen how serious we are in what we're doing. That itself has been gratifying. So
I kindly indulge me. I want to go on a quick break. But when I come back, I want to ask you about how many jobs you have created so far? If they have started working, whether they have started mining, whether they have started seeing the bauxite from the field, and how many jobs you have created so far? What is the projection that you want to create maybe in the next 1-2 years, or when the refinery is set up, how many? And then for the entire 4 blocks, how many jobs you are projecting? So by your timelines, if we come back to you, we should be asking you whether these people are on site working, whether they have permanent jobs. So you're still watching the bottom line. We say business at the speed of thought. With me, Kwesi Efriye. Stick and stay with us. We'll be right back. Yeah. You're welcome back from the break. This is the bottom line. We are live from our studios here at Rage in Accra. We are live on DSTV channel 277, and of course, Chairman Kwesi Efriye's page on Facebook, Metro TV News page on Facebook. You can find us. You can tweet at us. You can send in your comments, and you can send in any concerns that you have. We'll try as much as possible to get answers to the concerns. So, you're welcome back from that break. I was going to ask him one question, but my producer says she has a video and would play that video. That is Mr. Michael Ansah and his team. I asked him about the monitoring, and he says they've been going to the field, monitoring what Rockshore is doing. We want to see the video and have a look at it, how it's going on at the field.
The management of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development over the weekend paid a working visit to one of the 4 projects being executed under the Integrated Aluminium Industry in Yinahini Block B in the Ashanti region. The visit follows the commencement of mineral resource estimates currently being undertaken by its partner, Rockshore International, to validate and define the bauxite reserves in the enclaves. Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation, Michael Ansah, noted that it was important to experience at first hand the extent of work being undertaken by its partner, Rockshore International, which will pave way for the construction of a mine. Michael Ansah was particularly excited to see the involvement of residents of Yinahini in Pasaso and adjoining communities.
What is particularly gratifying is that this work, as you know, we signed the agreement with Rockshore International, a wholly owned Ghanaian company, coming here, interacting with the workers, with Sahara, which is actually carrying out the program today, has been very gratifying. You see the competence of Ghanaian companies that have the capacity. Before coming here, we went to base camp, where they've employed people, and it's interesting to know that as we start, employment has started, training local people, employing them to be able to do the work here and to be able to be part of the program that we're doing. Not just those who are directly employed, but also some indirect employment. We've seen that as we came up here.
The delegation from the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation was taken round the project site to inspect and observe the processes of collecting bauxite samples for analysis at the laboratory. The team was also introduced to a state-of-the-art drilling machine being used to conduct auger and diamond drilling. According to project geologist at Rockshore International, Isaac Mabi, opting for a combined approach drilling will help obtain quality core samples that will be analyzed from the laboratory to ascertain the geology and content of alumina, which will inform the type of refinery to be constructed.
At this stage, we are using the most efficient type of drilling to get accurate core recovery. The quality of the sample we are looking for is very, very important. So we've applied the most efficient exploration tool, HQ triple tube. We can go without a triple tube and fast, but that is not what we are after. It's a slow drilling process to give us excellent results.
A resident of Achiase, Efriyousu, said some 100 indigenes have been employed. They were full of praises for the Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Corporation and the government of Ghana for taking the bold initiative in developing bauxite in the area.
Right, so that was the Chief Executive Officer of GIADEC. We have him in the studio here tonight, and you still can tweet us at us or send in your comments. And Chief, how many jobs? We heard from the report that currently you have 100 indigenes.
Yes, so I think it's important that we put it in context,
Right.
and I always want to bring us back to the fact that we're running 4 projects and how the 4 projects define what we do. Even in Awasu today, where we're mining, just about 600,000 tons to 1.2 million is the range that we're mining there. We currently employ some, 700 people. 700 people are employed in Awasu alone. Then, if you look at it in terms of the expansion to create a 5 million mine, we're talking more like 3,000 plus people who are going to be employed in Project 1. The same would apply to Project 2 in terms of 5 million. So overall, you're looking at thousands of jobs being created at each of these project sites. Refinery work is a little different. It's not as labor intensive as the mining is. So that requires, a lot of it is now technology driven and all of that kind of thing. So that will employ less people, as in if the mine is employing 3,000, will employ less than half of that. So altogether, we're looking at some 10,000 plus people in the mining, refining areas. Now, it's important that we.
So if we do 3,000 for each site.
Yeah, that's what I'm
using.
using.
At least 12,000.
I like to be informed by what's actually happening on the ground, and not so much by throwing these numbers
Figures
about.
around.
But I'm giving you the exact what is happening at Awasu, where we're mining about 1 million with 700 people. So you can do the math for where we go to 500,
Right.
5 million tons, etc.
Right.
If you go to Valco, we have again about some 600 people working today, producing, as you said quite correctly, some 50,000 tons will be our target this year. When we get to 300,000, that would again increase significantly. I think the crux of this is not really the direct employment, but it's in the indirect employment as well.
Okay.
The impact it has on the local economy. I'll tell you a simple story. When I went to Ninahin, I saw a welder who's been welding, local welder, whose business is literally being transformed because of what we're doing. He can now hire extra people, and he's even working overtime. Now that, for me, is a real-life transforming story. I'm using the welder just to make a case in point. The chap you saw on the TV, he's a graduate. Now, he hasn't had a job for, I think, 2 or 3 years or so. Now he has a job. And apart from him, there were several others like that. So these are real stories of people who are now, today, employed, and people who are also doing high-value jobs. You saw in the picture there, we didn't explain, part of it was, the sampling, moving to labs, and, technical work. And these are high-value jobs, and people are being employed to do that. So I'm confident that this is actually demonstrating the capacity to hire people, not just, mining jobs, but also high-value, high-paying jobs, ultimately, is where this is coming from. If you look at Sahara, who are subcontractors to Rockshore,
Right.
very well-resourced company. The facilities they have there, medical facilities, etc. There's a doctor and nurses on site, etc. And all the facilities they're putting up. So this is a real world-class operation that we are driving here in Ghana. And I think ultimately, when we drive this through the 3 projects, etc., the impact of it will be quite significant.
So what we saw is more of prospecting, kind of.
Yes.
When are we to see actual mining?
I think you started the program by talking about, I mentioned the 24-month
24,
program.
yes. So,
and we are, say, 3 months into the 24 months.
Yes.
We've started the prospecting. The samples that we're collecting, as the geologist said, is what will define the type of refinery we can build. Not all refineries are the same. It depends on the geology, depends on the type of bauxite. So that's what is important. So when we finish the MREs, it will answer a lot of things, the type of refinery that can be built and the whole level of mining that we will do and all of that. So that's being done. By, I'll say, third quarter of this year, all of that should be completed, environmental impact assessment studies completed, and we'll then be going through the process of acquiring the mining lease on which the mining is going to commence. So when I talked about 24 months, I meant this year and then into next year. By middle of next year, I suspect we'll be on the ground in terms of mining.
Right.
The progress so far has been really...
You're impressed with the progress?
I'm impressed with the progress. I'm happy with the progress. There's a lot of work to do. I have to emphasize that. A great deal of work to do. But I'm confident in the team that we have on the ground. I'm confident in the support that we have from the local community. It's very important that, the reason we set up these 19-member committees way ahead of any work starting was to make sure that we could build trust with the communities. So the communities understand what we're doing. They see the work that is going on. They are very much a part of it. They very much contribute to how we're doing things. When we were screening and hiring people, they were very much a part of it. So these are people who are their children, and they are, when I say their children, they are people from the area, the local area. And it's good to see that that partnership of trust that we're trying to build is bearing fruit in this way.
I've asked you this question before, but let me ask, it's a bit of a divergent question. Are we going to see community development? So we know that, yes, you talk about the value chain and how it will impact on the general economy of Ghana, the amount of revenue we are supposed to rake in, but for the communities themselves. And I ask this because I used the Nyinahini Road, trying to remember the towns along, and I saw that there was a grader on one of the roads.
Sure, I know. Yeah.
And well, I couldn't attribute it to the project which is going on. However, these are very impoverished communities, quote and unquote, very poor communities that have the bauxite reserves.
Yeah.
What's your plan for them?
That's a very important question, and I wouldn't say that's an off-the-cuff question at all. It's at the heart of what we're doing. GIADEC wants to do mining and this whole industrial development in a different way. We want to do it to make community engagement real. So the whole issue of environment, social governance issues are very important in terms of what we do, which is why we set up these committees. In terms of community development, this will be very much baked into what we do, and we'll make sure that we can raise the necessary funding to do certain impactful projects, things that are transformational, not just splashing paint here and building a community center there, but things that involve the community in terms of the kind of development that is real to them and that is vital to them. As part of this program, there's been some road development already in the area. So in the Nyinahini roads are part of the program that is being carried out. Of course, access roads to the mining area goes without question, but already development has gone ahead of us even starting mining, and the community are witnesses to this, and they testify to the fact that this is already happening. And if you go to Awaso, where we've mined 70 years, what is there is not the kind of picture we want to paint at all.
That's why I asked this question.
Yes, that's what we want to paint.
So, I used the route to Seshui also recently, and still, I mean, it's still nothing good to write home about.
No, so we want to do things differently, and we will see the manifestation of that. And the engagement that we have with the community and all of that is what will yield the sorts of projects, the sorts of development that we should do. But this is at the heart of what we're doing.
We are sure that we will see these kind of development. Building of schools, for example. If you go to Nyinahini, for example, in the very rural areas, you see very dilapidated buildings, and the school children are in. Some don't have desks, some don't have tables to sit on. We are going to see all of these done by GIADEC and Rockshore.
No, we hope to be able to drive positive change in what we're doing, and we want to leave what I call a legacy of good in these communities, so that the brand of GIADEC, the brand of Rockshore, the brand of us and our partners represent certain core values, certain things which, people can
Before I take leave of you, what's the current state of the GBC workers? Ghana Bauxite Company Limited workers. You stepped in to resolve it. What's the current state? Are they happy now?
So we sort of met the workers. We made an undertaking clearly that nobody was going to lose their jobs. Government made the undertaking. And I'm glad to say, as we speak, that we have a happy group of workers there.
Company is not folding up
the
again?
The company is not folding up, definitely not. We're in a place where we want to be, where we've got the trust of the workers now. We're working together, we're building for the future. Everybody has kept their jobs, and production is continuing. So there's not been any break in operations at all, and everybody has kept their jobs. That was the important thing. Right.
Let me now ask you about the Sino-Hydro deal. What's our current state? What's our current relationship with the Chinese government?
Well, that's a question probably for others.
Probably
for the Chinese government, yeah.
For the president. But for the things that we are supposed to see.
Yeah, so the implementation of the Sino-Hydro projects is underway. And we are driving, a first phase has gone through parliamentary approval. They approved, 10 lots of projects. 4 of those lots have commenced, like Takrady interchange, Tamale interchange, and Ninahin roads and other projects like that. They have already started. So these are ongoing, and that project is still very much alive. It's important that we also do this in a structured way, in a responsible way, not sort of just rushing to complete the projects, but making sure that the projects are happening at the right time and in line with everything that we want to achieve. So yes, Sino-Hydro projects are very much underway, they are happening, and they are impacting communities, more importantly.
And you're happy with that? You're happy with the things you see so far?
Yes, so far that's ongoing. It's been run by the Ministry of Roads and others, and I'm happy with the progress that they are making, and we are developing the integrated aluminium industry in tandem.
Did you hear about the Atiase or Apiache incident?
Yes, I did. Very sad incident, and maybe just to use this forum to express my condolences to the families, where those who've lost, families of those who lost their lives, and the entire community. It's a really devastating thing to happen. And of course, there are lessons to be learned, for all of us. Whether you live in the community or wherever, it's a very important lesson for the nation. And it didn't have to take a tragedy of this proportion for us to wake up to some of these things. But it's something which I know it's being dealt with at the highest levels to address these things. It speaks to a whole myriad of things, even in terms of roads and development of railways and other things, and the safety things that we need to build around all of these things. So we are an industry, bauxite, that uses explosives as well, I'm just glad to say that the processes that we have in place at GBC, etc., are very stringent.
Anything of this sort.
Safety
you can't, is of the very highest importance in your industry.
Absolutely.
And so, with this incident happening, the question I've been asking myself is, what's the rest of the industry going to do? What are the plans they are taking? What are the regulatory actions they are supposed to be taking?
Yeah, the ministry is leading this, right at the front and center of this. Minerals Commission also very much engaged. Chamber of Mines very much engaged, and all of us in the industry have been affected by this, and there is a real emphasis on collaborating to make sure that the right answers, we have the right answers to the questions, and that we implement policies going forward that will prevent anything like this happening.
You mentioned the ministry. I've had 2 ministers. There was a minister who went with the government or the elections, and then there is a new minister. Have you enjoyed a good support from the new minister?
I've always had good support from my ministers, so really appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
Right, so thank you very much for your time
tonight.
Thank you. We are grateful. There were some questions coming in. Okay, one question was about the Apiache incident, so I think that's been well answered, and a few others, but well, let's box on. So thank you very much for your time tonight. We are grateful. I'm sure we'll follow up on the things you have said, especially the site visits and what Rockshore particularly is doing. And then we'll come up when we have questions. Thank you for your time. So, Mr. Michael Ansah is the Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Integrated Aluminium Development Company. And he's honored our invitation tonight to speak to us about the progress made so far since they signed a partnership agreement with Rockshore Company Limited. In fact, we went beyond that to ask him about safety issues, about the progress they are making in the other blocks, and a lot of other questions. I hope you have enjoyed the show. My name is Kwesi Efriye. Good evening.